Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Starfighter. And today we will be going over a Star Wars Unlimited deck profile. So this has been the deck I have been using in the competitive scene in the past month or two, and it's called Top Gun because it features the pilots and vehicles and iconic starships from Star Wars. So our leader unit is Luke Skywalker, and our base is the command center at the Death Star. Our frontline fighters, these are basically the ones we want to see in the opening hand. These are the ones that our opponent's going to see a lot of. They're all two costs. They all can be starters. The best one, in my opinion, that you really want to start off with is either the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing or the Resistance X-Wing. Resistance X-Wing and R2-D2 are a great combination because you're going into turn two with a 4-4 starfighter, which is great. Phoenix Squadron A-Wing is just the best attack power for cost. The next one I would probably say after that is the Red Squadron Y-Wing. Red Squadron Y-Wing, do not sleep on this card. This card does 4 damage every time it attacks. Not to mention, with R2-D2 on him, just opening up Red Squadron Y-Wing, R2-D2, it's now doing 5 damage a turn. Like, that's insane. Especially early game, they're going to probably put most of that damage onto their base. The Green Squadron A-Wing is great. It's okay starter, but it's great in the end game or like mid game where you're going wide and you just want to put on that extra power. Just because early game it kind of is bad because it has the one power to retaliate if it gets attacked into, but it's still a pretty good card for going wide later on. Black one we've only played one of because it's a good starting card and it's a good kill shot card if you want to throw like Luke in there at the end or whatever have you. So uh, it's great for the beginning. It's great for the end. It's just a great all around card. Is Black One. Next, we have our Vanguard fighters. These are the fighters that like do the most punch, and these are the ones that usually are going to be like the big hitters that we throw most of our pilots into. Disabling Fang Fighter, I want to talk about a little bit. Disabling Fang Fighter is confiscate with wings, and in all my years of playing card games, anytime you have an ability that gives you a body, it's really good. So, this is my advice for any Star Wars people who have not really done card games, but have played like the tabletops and stuff. You want to find cards that have an ability and then also give you a unit or a body on board to continue attacking. So, Disabling Fang Fighter has been one of my favorite cards, and people have been really sleeping on that one. Blue Leader is great for the ambush, and you can play them in space, you can play them in ground. Just the versatility and just being able to remove any obstacle just with the ambush attack is just great. So Blue Leader is great for just removing just any obstacle. Red 3 is our main support unit. It basically gives our entire board a +1. It gives everyone raid 1 when they attack. So just more power to the attack. Red 3 is great for that. So don't sleep on Red 3 either. That's a great card. Next, we have our 2 kill shot X Wings, which are Red 5, which just does a 2 additional damage to a damage unit, which is great. And then we have Red Leader, which reduces its cost for each pilot unit and upgrade on the board. So you're basically playing Red Leader for maybe 3 or 2 costs, depending on where you're at in the game. But not only that, when you put a pilot on Red Leader, you get to create an X-Wing token. That is a really powerful ability for rebuilding boards, for spamming, for setting up endgame. Red Leader's really great at that. So this deck kind of spams out X-Wing tokens if you get some good rhythm going. It's not like the main part of it, but that's a part where it kind of helps. I also want to give a shout out to the real reason I love this deck is because you can play Biggs, Luke, and Wedge, which is the flight that took out the Death Star, 1 and 2 technically. In the movie. So it's really cool to have that iconic trio in this deck. And it's really awesome to see them with their X-Wings and on the cards. So it's really cool for that. So those are our Vanguard fighters, our big hitting fighters. These are our ground crew. Masasi Tactical Officer, just a quick, cheap support. 1 cost, +2 on the attacks. Great card. Leia Organa is our healer when it comes to the support crew. Heals 1, gives a +1 attack to a pilot on a swing, but every time she swings, she heals, which is great. You always want to have some sort of like healing or just some sort of mitigation to the damage, which is great. So Leia's great for that. And the next up is Captain Tarkin. He is the real aggro piece of the deck here. He gives every vehicle +1 and overwhelm. So most people are going to have weak defenses to space units because most people don't have space unit centric decks. So you're going to have you need cards like Tarkin because they're just going to chew up through those like Bright Hopes, Corellian Freighters, Scouting Headhunters, or whatever it is, and Tarkin's just going to make your fighters just go straight through them and always push onto the base. The whole point of this deck, the whole strategy, is it's a rebel deck. It is what the rebels did against the Empire, which is hit a specific target and get out of there. It's basically designed to hit the base of your opponent as fast as possible and end the game as soon as possible. That's the whole point of this deck. Pilots, we have R2D2. He's your combo maker. R2D2 is just really good, zero cost pilot. You can put other pilots on him. He's great for that. So I really like him for that. R2D2 is great. Biggs Darklighter is versatile. He has a bunch of different abilities, but he gains Overwhelm. He's one cost. Great for that. Luke Skywalker. I only play two of them. I know most people play three, and you want to play three. He's just kind of cloggy when it comes to the speed because he does cost 3 to cast onto a ship. So that's kind of hard, but he's great when you want to put him on like a ship that you know is going to die. So you throw him on there, maybe get one good swing with him, and then the ship dies, and then you you put him on the ground side, which is great. So he's just the longevity and the aggro for the deck. So Luke Skywalker's great for that. 9 Nub, he's I would also probably play him. I only play him with 2 right now because you want to see him late game because you want to get all those pluses and bonuses from the other pilots and stuff. So you want to start off with like Biggs and R2D2, and then you go on a 9 Nub, and then you get just like +1/+2. But it's still good because you're still getting that little extra damage. So he's great for that. Just the best, just a really good cheap extra aggro card. And then last we play Poe Dameron. Poe Dameron's great for just resetting up the board. He's great for the defense of the deck or for the defense of a fighter with the +3. He's good at rebuilding because you get the ground unit, you get the space unit. You can get a space unit and then throw them into another one just to set up a really good end game. Just the number of times I won a game with just Poe Dameron creating an X-Wing token, jumping into another fighter, and then putting Luke in the X-Wing token, and this attack running for game. That's just very common with this deck. Next up, we have the events. We play attack run. You attack with 2 space units, basically in one action. So like you're gonna basically punch for anywhere between like 8 and 15 damage, depending on what you have on board. The highest I've gotten with an attack run has been 15. Stay on target. It's great early game because it gives you the draw power. Gives you +2. And again, it's all about hitting the base. So it really just makes like it that centric, like hit the base, hit the base, hit the base. So it's great for draw power in early game. Trench Run is the kill shot card. This is the card you save for when you're going to swing with Luke. I've swung with Luke for 12 or like about 12, I think is the most. I swung with him. I think I got 13 out of him one time. But like I'm usually swinging for like 10 to 12 on Luke with Trench Run. And like you don't ever really want to play this card for the second. Like I know like people don't play because like, oh, on attack I got to discard 2 cards and then I get damage from that. Like no, you basically just want to throw this card down and go game. Like that's it. Like there's no other question or anything else. You're just attacking, you're blowing up the base, and you're winning, and you're getting out of there. That's the point of the deck. That's the point of the strategy. Like you do not want to just go, okay, now I'm going to discard 2. Like you don't want that to happen. You just want to go, game's over, buddy, and that's how this works. Then we have Timely Reinforcements. Timely Reinforcements, it's just your emergency defense offense card. Rebuild, protect yourself. I used to play none of them, but there's been just too many game ones where I was like, yeah, I kind of really need this just in case. So Timely Reinforcements is great. 1 trench run's good. 2 stay on targets because you want to see the drop power, and then 2 attack runs just because it is your tempo. If you do get a wide enough board, basically if you're going in for game, just attack run might save you the game because you're just bundling up units to attack. There's some sideboard options. You can switch out. Like obviously you can't switch out the leader, but you could like when you build this deck, you could make it a Leia deck and make it just like Leia spaceships, um, which is kind of where I started originally. But I really liked the Luke mechanic, and I was getting really good with that. And I was getting really good with just kind of like throwing him into a fighter and just swinging for game, and that just became like my favorite thing to do. And even if they do stop, and even if your opponent finds a way to stop that, um, you just have so many fighters on board at that point that like you're gonna melt whatever it is in front of you anyway. Timely reinforcements, if you want to play more of those, if you feel like you need it. Echo based defender, if the ground units become too much, like you need a sentinel down there, then go ahead, throw echo based defender in there. Wedge, you're probably not going to throw him in there, but I just wanted to say like Wedge does exist, and he was kind of like my starting point that ended me up at Tarkin, just because Tarkin was cheaper and he kind of just paid out a little bit more, a little bit quicker. So that's why I kept him over Wedge. Um, but Wedge could probably come back someday, or maybe they'll give him a new card and he'll be a little bit more playable. But just so you guys know, Wedge is out there. Fleet Lieutenant's great. Targeting computer with the Y Wings. Just think about this. If you have the Y Wing with R2D2 and targeting computer, that Y Wing is swinging for 6 damage. Yeah, that Y Wing is swinging for 6 damage because you can control where those indirect shots go. So if you want to go turn 2, go all into the base 6, there it is. Tanty 4 is great if you're going against bigger ships like Star Destroyers and stuff, just because it's a Sentinel card and you can build your X Wings in safety and then go into the base. Scouting Headhunter is great, just again a cheap Sentinel, but not the best fighter. So we're really going for speed and aggro. So we really don't want something that's like, oh yeah, we're designing this to get blown up. Like we want to go for like going for the kill. We want to go in for the the base. And of course, you always play Confiscate just because people like to side that in case there's just too many upgrades that your opponent has. So this is the deck overview, just some strategies, some stuff you can read, just to kind of like get what my idea is with the deck. So my idea is basically to start off with like a Y Wing, a Phoenix Squadron Resistance, R2 Bigs, 9 Nub, maybe Masasi and stay on target. That's like my idea starting cards I want to see. Um, Mid game or like the must sees that you want to like see and like get on the board quickly to start pushing in the damage so you can really feel the power of the deck is Red 3, Tarkin, Leia, Masasi. Those are just great ways to get big damage on board. And then you just want to end the game with like Red 5 or Red Leader, Black 1. Throw Luke Leader and just into like the most powerful fighter you have that you ended the turn with, and then just attack, run, stay on target, or turn for a game. That's the whole point of it. Is just get a good solid shot in on that base, and just get out of there and end the game quickly before your opponent knows what even happened to them. Pros is as a cheap deck to build. It's high damage. It utilizes the Space Arena because most people don't have space-centric cards or even space-centric decks for that matter. So utilizing the Space Arena right now is really good. It's simple to play, and it's absolutely iconic. Some of the cons are it has a bit of a skill curve. You got to know what's going on in your deck and what's going on with their deck to kind of like really anticipate what's going on. You almost never have a hand. You're always putting it on the board, so you're very much hard of the cardsing whatever cards come next to you. So you basically gotta just hope your next 2 cards are just absolutely what you need. So in that case, it kind of feels very reactionary. It doesn't feel like it has a solid plan, even though it really does. It just you gotta make sure this happens. And one of my biggest complaints about this deck and just kind of about the game in general is it can get very non-canonical very quickly. Like there's just a lot of cards in here that like you're never going to see Tarkin and Poe ever in the same scene or in the same war because like Tarkin dies on the Death Star and Poe is born, I think like 5 years later after that. If not a couple, but you're never going to see that matchup. You're never see that battle. You're never going to see those 2 characters together. Um, so like, I don't like the non-canonical side of Unlimited, but I think that's something they'll fix later as we get more cards. But right now, because we have so little, I think it's okay. But I hope they really change that, just because I like having like the deck building process be like very like together with what you have. So like maybe these traits come into play somehow. So this is the deck laid out, put in front of you. If you guys want to make any changes to it, any suggestions, let me know. I really like this one right now. This deck has been doing really good. I've actually, the lowest I've ever placed with this deck has been second. I've done 8-man tournaments. I've done 6-man tournaments, and I've done really well with this deck. Most of the time, it's because people don't anticipate it, but it's also because that it's just really fast and it plays the game mechanics very well, and it does a lot of the combos that most people are like, oh no, I don't think that one's going to work, and it kind of does work. And it's always really funny when people go trench run. How did I lose a trench run? And it's like, well, because you use it for the end, you don't use it in the beginning, even though it's one cost. Just because something's one cost does not mean it's a starter card. It could be an ending card. So always think about that when you're deck building. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment, see what any changes you would make to the deck. Let me know what that they would be. Subscribe to the channel if you love anything sci-fi, Star Wars, combat related. This place crawls, and remember to always check your six.